Welcome back. Former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani has announced that he will not be President Trump's impeachment lawyer. Last night, Giuliani telling ABC News that because he gave a speech earlier at the rally that is subject to the investigation, he is a witness and therefore unable to participate in court or in the Senate chamber. No decision has been made yet on who will be the president's legal team or his attorney. White House Deputy Press Secretary Hogan Gidley tweeted that, quote, President Trump has not yet made a determination as to which lawyer or law firm will represent him for the disgraceful attack on our Constitution and democracy known as the impeachment hoax. We will keep you informed. Let's find out more about this and welcome in Jordan Sekulow, Executive Director for the American Center for Law and Justice. He's also a member of President Trump's legal team. Well, let's try to figure out what exactly that means now. Jordan, great to see you. Thanks so much for coming back with us. Very concerning, I think, for anyone who cares about due process when you don't know who the defense attorney is. The president, like anybody else accused of a crime, deserves a fair trial here. Do you think he can get one?
Well, I think that what he's looking at is, one, where his attorneys are right now. So the attorneys like me, where are we focused? And so some of us who have been around a long time, including on the floor of the Senate for the first impeachment, the Mueller investigation, we've been focusing a lot of our work on what is going to come at the president after he leaves office. So we've got New York Attorney General making these kind of allegations, and criminal and civil, and the New York DA, who we fought, by the way, at the U.S. Supreme Court on behalf of the president on documents. Well, now you get to a next phase. So we're kind of been focused there and on issues like that. Then you've got, for the second time, Mayor Giuliani, who was extremely helpful as part of the president's legal team with the Mueller investigation, but could not participate, remember, in the first impeachment either because it involved Ukraine as part of the defense. So he was raised as an issue consistently by the House Democrat managers, and I'm sure he will be this time. That doesn't mean he can't be assisting. That doesn't mean any of us are not assisting the president in putting together the right group of people. Some of this is coming down to what is the kind of the first argument you make. And I think here you look to a constitutional scholar like Professor Dershowitz, who did take part for a small portion of the first impeachment, to go in and really target those 17 Republicans, John, and say, you know what, this is unconstitutional. This is a private citizen you're talking about impeaching. So whether or not you're even leaning one way or the other, let's start there. We shouldn't even be here. And then he's also an expert on speech when it gets to hate speech, inciting speech, violence. This is someone who defends and it would be able to say, which we all could, but I think he could say with more weight than anyone. Also, Professor Eastman, these kind of types of folks who have written on this, they can get up and say, listen, I know this isn't a court of law and you have different standards, but in a court of law, no one would ever be found guilty for what the president said. Go peacefully protest at the Capitol. We have to be tougher. You know, that's not the kind of language ever that would get punished under the standards of the Supreme Court. But I think the question is this: Will this start in? Is this going to start in 24 or 48 hours, or is this going to start in 100 days? And I think that is still why there's some movement. And John, one just thing I want to point out: it didn't happen last time, but it can happen. Is because of the way this impeachment was done. It was kind of rushed through the House. They didn't have hearings. And you see that on the House side, the Democrat members, they have to make the argument. They can bring in legal counsel to assist them, but they don't talk. They make the argument. You actually can do that. The House Republicans could go in and be part of not just a media defense team like they were the first impeachment, but actually on the floor making arguments. So that also could be unique. I'd say people haven't thought about that yet. So you could see House Republicans actually
something for Mitch McConnell to think about, certainly, because you definitely see a much more vocal defense of the president from House Republicans than I think you'd see in the Senate. The other thing, too, here, Jordan, when you take a look at the long-term objective of Democrats here, I think you probably remember the term subpoena cannon that was bandied about as a way to, hang all these investigations on the Trump administration so they couldn't push their policies through. It's quite obvious now that subpoena cannon is going to be still in the arsenal of Democrats and a lot of President Trump's adversaries well after he's out of office.
Yes, they are trying to. I mean, the whole goal of this impeachment is to prevent President Trump from ever running again. And they've tried to silence him through social media. They've tried to take away his ability to talk to his supporters. That's why you're getting statements from Hogan, who's a great press secretary, but not directly from the president. You kind of have to do double checks on everything right now because we're not getting what we're used to, which is the direct comments from the president. And it's going to be. I think that's also trouble during the impeachment as well, because you won't be hearing directly from the president unless he has like a former president press conference on an impeachment of I mean, it's so bizarre. But yes, I mean, they're going after the Hollies. They're going, trying to shut down having a fundraiser for doing something that, by the way, Jamie Raskin, the lead House impeachment manager, objected to Donald Trump's certification of his electoral votes.
The irony is thick, I think, for a lot of people, and a lot of that stuff is going to come up. And, if anybody could pull off a post-presidential podium, it would be President Trump. Jordan, great to see you. Thanks so much.
Thanks, John.
All right, we'll be right back with a look at what else is ahead later today on Newsmax TV.